tell you what your task is, and you're like, cool. First thing you do, 3 points of contact. It's going to be the same when you do your wheels, tracks, rollers. You have to do that, all right? I'll just be like, no. Okay, so 3 points. Actually get yourself up on there. Okay, seatbelt. Most new equipment, the equipment won't even work unless you've got a seatbelt on, all right? When you're putting your seatbelt on, you're actually looking at the condition of it, all right? Is it frayed? Is it actually serviceable? Does it work? It's one of those things, oh yeah, 3 points of contact, seatbelt, yeah, cool. This thing actually will bloody save your life. Yeah, we hear about that with cars and on the road and blah, blah, blah. But you're generally operating this type of machinery somewhere dangerous. If you're doing earthworks, shit, these things slide, these things tip and roll. Some bits of equipment will actually have a rollover protection system, but not all of them do. Right? So if this thing rolls, you want to make sure it actually works. Because if you fall out of the machine and that thing rolls onto you, gone. It's just, yeah. Take the safety stuff with plants seriously. Okay? Sweet. Just for your knowledge, there's a little wind up thing here, so we bring that steering wheel to you. Alright, get your seat in a position where you're comfortable. There's a thing there in the front seat, so you can move it forward and back.
This looks neat.
Okay, there's a whole bunch of foot pedals here. Okay, so because this is a range of machines, okay, there's a lot of buttons and stuff that aren't needed for the front end loader, but I'll take you through those. As far as pedals go, far right accelerator, the one to the left of it is your brake. Okay, 2 in the middle for an excavator, and that's like another pedal for a grader. So don't worry about that one. Right, so just the far right, the far left. Sorry, far right and the one next to it. The next check you do is make sure it's actually in neutral. So whoever was on this last time didn't put it in neutral. You start it up. Some machines won't even allow you to start up, but you don't want this thing just taking off on you, right? So this one here on the left, the steering wheel, yeah, that's in forward right now. Bring it back to the middle, it's in neutral, all right? You can't go forward or back, you actually have to lift it up and forward. Up into the middle, up and reverse. Cool? Easy as that, forward and back with neutral and middle. When we're actually using the steering wheel, just one hand.
Okay.
Right, use the knob, we don't do this. Right, get your hands on. Those guys that do a forklift, same mate. Cool, so what we'll do then, check it's a neutral. Alright, foot on the brake, turn the key.
Right.
Okay, she starts up.
Oh.
That's off. Okay, the next thing is we want to actually start our functions check. Alright, so all we do there, okay, you'll see there's 2 joysticks. For a loader, only one. Alright, sometimes they don't even have a joystick, they've just got 2 levers. Alright, so for this type of machinery, this one's a joystick. Don't worry about any of these buttons. For a grader. Nice and simple, your functions test will just be pulling it back. So boom up. Yep, all the way up. All the way down. When I say all the way down, just bring it to a level where you can see in front of it. Alright? But I don't want to see anyone driving around with it there. You can't see anything, right? People do. So bring it there. So you've gone boom up, you've gone boom down. Then we're going to go left and right, we're going to tilt our bucket. So all we're doing here is checking that our hydraulics are good to go. Alright? Cool. Next one, brake checks. It does bloody matter. So generally these things are parked up at the end of the day somewhere flat. Right? You're working somewhere where it's 24 hours, and old mate's just pulled up. There you go, bro. Don't just jump in and drive off, do your own pre-start checks, but generally they're on level ground, but we want to check check its steering and brakes, etc. So for the brake check, right, your park brake should already be on. Okay, so foot on the brake, chuck it into forward, foot off the brake. There should be enough revs. You know, if the revs are up, it can actually start to push through. So like right now it's pretty good. I get the park brake's holding the idle. Right, if I give it a little bit of gas, checkyo's holding. When you guys are in here, this motion platform, you can actually feel it.
Yeah.
But you know, if I give it enough gas, you can actually push through your brakes.
Oh, yeah, it's even got the. Wow.
The key thing is, put it in forward, take your foot off the brake and see if it's rolling. You're just making sure that your park brake actually holds. Right, foot goes on the park brake, turn the park brake off. Now all we're going to do is drive forward and check that the foot brake works. Cool,
Yeah.
she stops. We're happy. Alright, back into neutral, park brake on. We want to check our steering, alright? So, yes, it's a simulator. You can still get a feel for it. So, on a real one, when you're doing that, you're just looking forward at that articulated point, just making sure that there's no hydraulic fluid squirting out, and that there's just no sort of gap in that movement. Sometimes you turn the steering wheel, it doesn't even move, and then it grabs. So, if there's any sort of looseness in that pivoting point, it's just something that you'll raise. Just tell the boss, hey, things not running quite right, the steering's a bit loose. Alright, so we're doing that. Then after that, you want to be seen, you want to be heard. Alright? So, on these, beacon, so the beacon is over here. Alright, there's a little touch pad here. So a little beacon light on it. Sweet, you can sort of see it there. New Zealand, you have to have your beacon going. Alright? You also want to check your horn. And you got one more sound. Cool. So be seen, be heard. Horn, reverse sound, beacon. Cool. And then we're ready to go to work. So, into gear, park brake off. And we're going to take our loader over to the stockpile. So when you guys first get on here, don't go straight to the stockpile. I just want you to sort of just drive around. I want you guys to feel that weight shift. You sort of see the platform moving a bit. You sort of see it move. Yeah, you really do feel it up here, but generally just go for a drive, go around left, go the other way, go right. Just get a feel for what that's like. We never have the bucket loaded at height and we don't drive around turning. The theory is going to teach you that, but you do something like this, you know, if you're mucking around going fast like that, turning, you can roll very easily. Right? To articulate, these things will tip. Right? So, you've done your functions test, you've done your checks, we're heading over to the job. Now one thing I see with a lot of people, they do too much steering, right? So we're going to be loading this truck. So get yourself basically sort of 45 degrees with it. So here's our stockpile, here's our truck. I've seen some people grab a load and then they reverse up and then they're on the piss and they're on the wrong angle. You want to be nice and square with the truck. And some people are like, oh, I'm not square, and they go for a big drive around there and straighten up. Alright, if we just have a nice straight 45 degree angle to the truck, we're going to go stockpile, reverse, so we're about center with the truck, and then we only have to do a 3/4 turn, and then we're going to be bang on. So there shouldn't be heaps of turning, there should just be a 3/4 turn, and we'll be lined up. So basically we're going to cruise up. Right. One thing that throws people off the bucket, see how it looks like it's on an angle? It looks like it's going away from us?
Yeah.
That's actually just how this bucket sits. Some buckets are different, some of them actually have like a self-leveler. So when you get your load, you reverse up and you raise your boom, the bucket always stays level so we don't spill it. This one doesn't have one, right? Which is good for when you're learning. But generally right now you can't see where your teeth are, eh? You can't actually tell. But, yeah, so that's part of the trick. So we go this way. You can just see the teeth.
Yeah.
Sweet. So you can see right now it's like this. We want it to be down here with a little bit of angle. If you have it like this, because some people think, oh yeah, that's straight, the teeth are level. Right now we're like this. Right? We want to be about there. Nice big angle. So all we're going to do is drive forward. We do not ram the stockpile. Right? So this could be sand, it could be GAP 65, could be metal, you know, it could be all sorts of stuff. Could be debris. We never just go up and ram it because that's just going to do damage to the bucket, do damage to the equipment. So the best operators just go up and they just agitate. So what we're going to do is we're just going to drive up. Yeah, testing, well done. Alright, so we come up. Right, and we're just going to agitate it, right? Just slowly but surely give it a tickle. Because on a real stockpile, that might be all you need to do, and that load's going to come to you. Right, so yeah, ideally we want the load falling into the bucket, and then we can just sort of drive forward that little bit more. Right, a little bit more. And see down the bottom, it's going up 100%. Sweet, that's telling us we've got a full bucket. So from here, see, I haven't even driven right into the stockpile. I've only just agitated it, I've got a full bucket.
And that 100% that feature, do they have that feature in the actual excavators, or is this just for the computer?
It'll be a weight
simulation?
thing.
Yeah, it's more weight, you know, so they're getting a lot smarter, these machines, and yeah, and it will measure productivity and stuff like that. But generally, yeah, it's a weight. So we got our load. I haven't rammed it, I haven't driven up the load. I've just come in and I've just tickled it. Alright? Into reverse, check your mirrors, shoulder checks, you can get into the habit. Reverse out. Now it's like I said before, drive far enough back that we're going to be central to the truck. And back as far as here. Alright. Into forward, 3/4 turn. Take your time. So not too much steering out. Now just get as close as you can, it's not a competition, just get nice and close. This is one thing I want you guys to remember, because everyone sort of lets themselves down by forgetting this bit. When it comes to loading the truck, raise your boom as far as you can go. Not like, oh yeah, the bucket looks like it's above the truck. Bring it all the way up. So some people will be like, oh yeah, that's enough. But then when they get into the bucket, you're not actually emptying the full bucket. So bring it all the way up.
It is a quite way.
Yep. Okay, and then we're going to inch forward. Now, I don't mind while we're learning, we're going to hit the truck. Right? We try not to, but get as close as you can. So I'll point out one thing.
There's no way that it can reach over to the other side and you're tipping over the other side.
Nah, not unless you're like a massive sort of quarry one, and you're dealing with a smaller boxy or something. Yeah. But basically, every time you get on a piece of equipment, especially if it's new, you need to learn the reference points. I acknowledge that this is a simulator, the depth perception, you might be like, oh, well, I hit the truck, it didn't look like I was. Don't worry, if you hit the truck in the assessment and you haven't like brake late, you haven't just rammed it, if I can see you being careful and you tap the truck, I'm okay with that. If I see you running at it and you're just too late to brake, and because you might give it a bit of gas and you put some brake on, you still got that brake pushing you. If you ram the truck, I'll be like, nah, I'll just tell you to do another load, right? So you might end up doing 4 or 5 loads. But basically, see the front of the guards? Sweet. So for the reference point for this, I want to line up that guard. I'll jump down and show you. Yeah, so here's the hub. So the reference point for this one here is this, the front of your guard needs to sit at the bottom of the hub. Right? If you go any further than that, it'll hit. Right? So every time you jump in a new piece of kit, you're going to learn that. Right? Like what's a good reference point? Another good habit to get into is rubber on rubber. So it's better your tyres hitting the tyres of the truck instead of you being offset and then it's just a boom hitting the bloody the truck. Or metal on metal, right? That can cause damage. Okay, so forward, right, we're off. Now you're gonna feel it's like rocking motion, it's normal. Alright, so we just take our time, get as close as we can. There. So I actually have hit it, alright? So see, I've just gone a little bit too much.
Just under.
So just under. So that is pretty good. So if you get to that point, it doesn't have to be bang on that point, but the closer we are to the bottom of that hub, you'll be fine. Then all we're going to do is tilt the bucket all the way. That goes down. there's generally, yeah, that's the one, mate. Generally, there's you might be like, oh, that takes a while. But actually, there's a pretty good bucket with a lot of earth on it. If that happens to you there, that 8%, give it a
Really good
shake.
steering wheel.
Yeah, just give it a shake. You know, it's just you're just agitating it. Get it all out. Right. Tilt the other way. Be like the pros as you're reversing. Mirror, mirror. Shoulder checks. As we reverse away, start lowering it. So we're not wasting time. We're being productive, and you're already good to go. Right, get far enough back. 3/4 turn. So you're about right. 3/4 turn.
Sam,
Yeah, right.
just asking, is there a purpose of using the horn when you reverse? Or-
Yeah, it's good practice, eh? Yeah. Forklifts 100%.
Yeah.
Site by site, depends where you are. It's a good habit too. Yeah. It's not on the assessment, but yeah, if you can get in that habit, guys, just do it. Because you might end up at a site where you have to. So
Even with the reverse people.
yeah, that's the thing. That's probably why it's not in the teachings, but
It's a good habit, eh?
that is a good habit. Yeah. If you've already got that habit with the forklift, just keep it going. It's better to be safe, over the top safe. Now, one point I'll bring up: some people will go straight back for that same spot that they just got a bucket out of. Now, if you take 2 or 3 buckets in that same spot, what do you reckon's going to happen?
It will start coming to the side.
Yeah, I suppose on a real site, you know, like it should hopefully come. Depending on the type of material, it should just fill that gap. Gravity does its thing. But if you got like a dense, say it's clay or whatnot, if you keep digging at that same spot, eventually your bucket and boom is going to be quite far into the stockpile, and then your wheels are going to want to drive up the pole. So all I'm saying here is do one load there, then do one to the left, then do one to the right, then go to the middle again, then go to the left. Basically like bricks, just stagnate instead of going for that same gap. All right, so again, let's do it again. Line yourself up. We want to get our tilt on our bucket right. So I'll just go slightly offset. Now another tip. So we go a little agitating here. As we go forward, it's called crowding. So basically do that. Tap your joystick and do this as we're going in. It's a good habit to get into. Sweet. So I say that because when you're cutting a loaf of bread, you don't just fucking push a knife through it, eh? Like you actually have to hack at it. It's the same bloody thing with this. You don't just go pushing a piece of machinery into rock. Yeah, go through and do that with your bucket. Just sort of, it's called crowding.
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 Like a crowd. So go through and just do that. Because if you got, I mean, this looks like sand, but now that looks like rock. But you know, on a real site, if you're dealing with rock, you really do. You want to have the teeth on, and you actually want to be agitating and cutting into it. All right. So there we go. Got another 100%. Load it up. I've already showed you the truck. The next part of the exercise will just be into the hole. Right. The 3/4 turn. Forward. 3/4 turn. Now with this one, don't rush. Your wheels can fall in there very easily. I brake. Sometimes you've got too much weight behind you if you're rushing, and then you can be on the brakes and the machine's still moving forward, and then you fall in and you can't get out. Right? We don't want to do that during assessment. So get as close as you can. So I'll probably push you my luck there. And we'll do 3 in the hole. Thumbs up. Right, so do 3 there. Okay, cool, nice work. Identify somewhere safe to park and carry out the shutdown procedures. Right. I get all sorts. I do this. I say, you know, I'm about to show you where's a good place to park, but some people like to choose their own place to park. My advice would be park where I'm parking. Some people like to park underneath power lines, which you'll learn later is not a good idea. Generally, you don't park in the middle of a work site, you don't obstruct a vehicle, like you're not going to park in front of this truck. You're not going to block the other machines that now have to move your machine to get out. Park somewhere safe, you don't block the gate. Pretty good idea just to park it where you got it out.
Where's the bucket?
Yep.
So it's a bucket, skid.
Skid steer loader. Sweet. Reverse mirror check. Shoulder check if you can remember.
Straight away. Start with theory. This looks cool.
Well, not too bad there. So all I want to see in the shutdown procedure is reverse start into neutral, park brake,
Right.
sweet, and we lower the bucket. Now you'll see if you push it all the way down, it can start to lift. We depend on the type of ground, in a real environment, you don't want to be cutting into the ground. Just give it enough, but you want to give it a bit of tilt. So it's not collecting rainwater and stuff, right? Just a little bit of a tilt. Park brakes on. Beacon off. Turn it off. And then it'll be 3 points of contact off. Sweet, well done, handshake. Cool. 1 point I didn't mention, this is a part around there on site communications. For this, it'll just be the toot of the horn. It's telling your truck driver that he's full. Right. So when you do your 3 loads, beep beep, that actually, if you do that in this environment, the load actually disappears out of the truck. Which means the new trucks are turned up. But just toot the horn, and I'm like, cool, you acknowledge that that's the site communication around here, right? And that's pretty much it. 3 points of contact off, and you're done. One other thing I'll just quickly point out, when you get a bit more comfortable for it, here, it's an L and an H, it's like your high idle. So if I turn this all the way up, yeah, generally on a site, these things are under the pump, these engines are running hot, but they're fucking doing the mahi hard. Like, when you get the hang of it, don't go all the way up, have the revs up a bit. Because instead of going accelerator, brake, when you go into the truck, you can just have the revs up and just be like brake. Yeah. And when you get close, brake on. But when I say that, when you guys have a play, just have a play, but if you give it too much revs, it's actually too high and it pushes through the brake. So you don't want them going, revving all the way out. But have a play with that. You've also got high range, low range. So cruising around like this, it's okay. When you start going to work, chuck in the low range. Right? It's not in the test, but it's good habit to get into. Right? More low down torque, it's just better for it. If you're maneuvering, you're like, oh, what the hell, why is my bucket not working? Like, you can go up and down, but the bucket won't tilt. To the right of the high range, low range, you can actually lock the bucket. We don't need it, we're not teaching it, but if you run into that issue, like, oh, I can't crowd and the bucket doesn't work, just double check that and go, oh, it's on, turn it on. All good?
Yep.
Pretty straightforward.
Alright. Good.
3 points of contact off. So have a feed first, and then we'll have a feed, and we'll just get you logged in.